Hi, I'm Camille Meehan, and I am an environment artist for games. This is one of the first times I'll be setting up Diversion. As an artist, that source control can be kind of tricky sometimes. They are sponsoring this video in the hopes that it'll help others understand how to set it up a little bit better. So let's get started. So at diversion.dev, you can click the Get Started button. It will prompt you to create a login or to log in. And in my case, I already have a login set up because I've gone through this a couple of times. And you'll want to install the desktop app. So I can just hit next because I have it installed. Pick my license, which is indie, and I certify that I'm indie. And then open the app. Started. It will ask you to log in again. And there you have it. There you have it, your Diversion workspace. So first you're going to want to set up a repository, but you can also use an existing folder. So let's go new repository, and we will create it from an existing folder, which I set up in the C drive under my Diversion repo. If you want, you could set it up in advance or just create a new folder. Let's create. Okay, that's great. And we're gonna click on this new workspace where we will have our files saved. And we'll be able to see that initial commit of everything being created, but we have more files we want to bring in. So let's do that. The easiest way I've seen to bring files in is not to use this button, but you can. It's just to bring in the files themselves in your Windows Explorer. So we've got this file, and I can just look at my test files here and drag them in. Like I said, you can also do the old-fashioned, well, not so old-fashioned way, but you can just use the buttons if that's more comfortable. And then everything will be syncing. And right now you can see it says it's syncing up here. 1,294 and counting files are being synced. And when it's done, that logo should change to like a check mark, I believe. So we're just gonna wait for that to happen. And I will fast forward. Okay, that was pretty fast actually. We've got a check mark, everything is synced. That's great. I have my Cinema 40 files, my FBX, my Unreal Engine project. This whole thing is 22 gigabytes, maybe more. So first off, let's commit all these changes. You can go to the change list and you can see all these new files. All these new files need to be committed. So we're just going to create a descriptive message that we're going to commit that. And yes, we want to proceed. That's our baseline. So now we can go to our items and change a few things around. So let's change the Cinema 40 file. I'm just going to open it up. We will be editing this floor in our Unreal Engine project. So we are just going to make some quick changes. Got the floor. Let's drop it way down there. And then, boom, we can save it. And move on from there, close it down. And then we can open up our Photoshop file, which is ridiculously large. They want me to test large files, so here's a nearly 1 gig Photoshop floor texture. Let's open that up. And there we have it. We have our floor. We're going to give it a slightly different color. Make it purpley, and we shall save it and close it out. Now, this should soon show up with a modified icon, but it is a larger file, so I give it a minute. And then for now, let's go into the... There's a thunderstorm happening, my apologies. But there is the Unreal Engine project, and we can just open that one up. And you can see that the modified indicator showed up for that Photoshop file now. And again, as I mentioned, that's a very large file. So, okay, we have the file open for the Unreal Engine project. Okay, that looks fine. Now let's make some changes to this mesh. Do you import a different file for that mesh? I saved it out already in advance, but it's basically, what if we changed it? You can see it has moved down just a bit. Okay, so that's moved down, and then let's change the texture here to the one we just made, the purple one. All right. Okay, now we have a purple material instance. That's lovely. Save that out and close it, and we can see that our floor has now changed quite a bit. Nice and purple. Lovely. Let's save that out and close it down again. Now, what we should see here is all of these files are marked as having modifications. So this Photoshop file here, we could commit it separately as floor texture change to purple. Commit. All right, let's commit that. And for the Cinema 4D file, we could say 3D floor model adjusted to be even more broken. Commit that. All right. And then this is our Unreal Engine adjustments. So we can just commit that as, changed floor color and shape on the floor, on color and shape. Just with that. Commit it. Boom. Done. Now let's say we go to our client and they're like, oh man, we did not like the purple floor at all. I hate it. No purple floors. So we can now revert back to a commit where that wasn't happening, and it will undo the Cinema 4D, the Photoshop, and the Unreal Engine changes that we made. We can do that in our commits, which you can see in the history. So this is our initial one. This is our import. This is when we changed the Photoshop file to purple and changed the 3D model, and then we changed the project. When really, we just want to we would like to go back to the form it was beforehand. So we can revert to this one, or we could undo these ones individually. For expediency, we are just going to revert to this one. Revert to this commit, which will get rid of all the commits above it. Do we want to proceed? Yes, we do. We do. We got yelled at for those changes. And then, because these are now changed files, we need to commit that as well. So, reverted to original brown tile floor. I need to select those. And commit. And commit it. And what that means, oh, look at the snowflakes. What that means is when we now open the Cinema 4D file right here, it should be back to its original shape. So let's just take a look at that. That's how it was when we first found it rather than when we moved it. Great. Close that down. And the Photoshop file should be back to its tan color. Let's take a look. It is back to the tan color. That's great. I'm going to close that. And then our Unreal project should also be back to the tan floor. Let's open that. And it is. All right, fantastic. That's great. Close it down. That actually works pretty well. So to wrap things up, I've never set up my own version control server, and setting up diversions was effortless, which is great. I have used Perforce and Git before, though I did not set them up, and it had a very similar feeling to that, though I did run into, and this is specifically because I went in blind, because I wanted to find what it would be like to go in not knowing much. I did have some issues which would have been solved by reading the docs. So I do highly recommend the quick start and the basic usage and what to do with your changes. Reading those would have helped make it go a lot smoother, and in the end I did read them to help me get through the user interface quickly. The price of free for up to 100 gigabytes, 5 users, is terrific, and the creators seem to be pretty active in the Unreal Engine community, at least. I have ran into situations where files have just gotten corrupted, being on my computer for no reason, and just having a backup in the cloud would save my life, my heart. It would just be so wonderful. So I will be trying it for my own files, and thank you again for watching the video. I hope it has helped you try it out or given you some curiosity to try it out. Thank you to Diversion for making this video possible, and I look forward to seeing you around.